Well, good morning, everybody. It is Experience Friday Live, Friday, August 26th, and it is so great to be here. It's been a few weeks, and I am so thankful that you all are being patient with us as we're adjusting schedules around my chemo treatments. Just a quick update around that. I just finished last week my 5th treatment. I'll go in on the 9th of September for my 6th treatment, and then we'll do a full scan and see where we're at. But all right, everything's going right right now. Okay, and we're really happy with that. Just a couple reminders. We just finished this week dropping our last episode of the Combustion Chronicles Summer Edition with Zach Hamilton, where we talked about moving from experience management to experience as a strategy. You do not want to miss that. And next week, you do not want to miss either. But Jeff Rausch, Senior Vice President of National Healthcare Practice at Core Education, PBC. We're going to talk about what in the world is happening to the healthcare workforce. I just saw statistics that 40% of our healthcare workforce is going to leave their career by 2025. So that's what's happening. Really excited about today's topic. It could be a little controversial to some, but I think it's a topic that we need to discuss in the industry today, tearing down the silos between customer success and customer experience. And I have a very dear friend of mine, Kristina O'Brien, who is going to be joining us today. Kristina is a dynamic, human-centric experience transformation leader. She's a change agent and a coactive coach with an outcome-based focus on doing for customers versus doing to them. I love that. Doing for customers versus to them. Leveraging curiosity and heart to help people and businesses evolve to be their best. Passionate about learning every day to find new and better ways of being and doing. I am so excited to have Kristina on here. She's going to share more about her career. So let's welcome her to the platform today. Kristina, it is so great to see you.
Hi. Thank you, Shawn. I'm excited to be here. Very excited.
Well, you know, Kristina has become a very dear friend of mine, and we just met a few months ago, actually at a CX event in Chicago, where I spoke about the 1990s want their CX playbook back. And we hit it off there, and I love your perspective, and we're going to get into that today. But thank you for being here. And I know Michael misses not being here. He is off celebrating his daughter's birthday. He tried to dial in, but didn't have enough Wi-Fi strength, so he sends his love to you as well, and really glad you're here. So we start every episode with a quick 90-second answer type of thing. And you talk about it in your bio, but can you tell our audience, why do you do what you do and what keeps you motivated as you do it?
Yeah. It's really about helping people. It's about helping others get better. And I fully believe that it starts with understanding. And I just get excited every day when there is something, there's some insight, there's some component of understanding what others need and how to help them get to that level. And we all have that capability and power internally within us. And my role is, and what excites me is helping those other people realize that oftentimes can be my clients. And it is around that experience. It's about the heart, not just the mind that happens.
Well, and let's be honest, Kristina, that's why you and I hit it off.
I know.
Right? Right? And listen, there were some amazing speakers that day. But, I keep it on my LinkedIn thing is worry about the human experience, and you'll get the numbers and the metrics that you want.
Exactly.
Right. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about that. And in particular, as I've talked about moving from experience management to experience as a strategy, and even me working in the industry for years, and my experience at Disney and all, I never realized such a disconnect between customer success and customer experience.
Right.
And you and I have had some great conversations, and I hope we dive into that even more today.
Yes.
But you gave me a quote that really intrigued me. And you said, customers don't buy a product or service, nor do they always buy based on price. And there's so many things we can talk about that with, right? What they are purchasing is help in solving a business problem or even a personal problem, right? Right. Tell me more, like, why is it so important for us as practitioners in the industry to understand that? Why?
Right. Well, because at the end of the day, it's when we talk about customer success, a lot of different roles and responsibilities fall under that. So part of it is,
and I hate to stop you, but as you talk about customer success, what are those roles that you're talking about? Because I think that needs to be talked about.
It does, and it's what it is customer success is really the frontline people that are delivering the experience or the engagement with your customers. And so they're responsible at the end of the day for the success of your customer as a business. And so, that might be customer service. It could be agents and call centers. Very often it is that human component. We deliver customer success actually digitally too. And that's a component we have to continue to think about, is what that interaction is, how to humanize that digital interaction. Because at the end of the day, success, personal success at the customer level, me as a customer, I'm just looking to have my problem solved, right? And so the alignment between the execution and the interaction of the customer success, actually what we see, and we saw this early on in when customer experience started becoming a thing 15, 20 years ago. What's missing is that alignment across the business. It's the vision of why. What is the problem that as a company we're accountable for delivering? And what we see is people talking about improving the experience for customers, but not spending the time at the very top levels to align on what that means, giving that framework, right?
Yeah. Yes. So, I mean, you can see it right behind,
Yes.
our guests, people know my affinity and love, and as a Walt Disney Imagineer and a cast member, I guess I just never understood how the industry is so divided, though. Like, we have there's a major conference called Customer Contact Week in Las Vegas in June, where 20,000 people go to that conference, right? And then there's major customer experience conferences, right? Like that's what you and I met at. We met at a smaller venue, but it was a customer experience forum, right? But there you are as a customer success person, and you've got, I didn't read all of that, but you've got 25 plus years doing customer success and some management. And then you talked about, though, and I love this, that customer experience came on the forefront 15 years ago. And I just read an article this week that the fastest growing C-suite position is either chief experience officer, chief customer officer right now happening. But let me be real, because I went through and you went through this. I went through the time when chief innovation officer was the cool thing to be, right? Like, and I was one of those. I was a chief innovation officer. I think that's going away. And now I think C-suites are going to go at chief customer officer, chief, experience officers. But is it still, to you, feel like a check the box thing? Mm-hmm. And that's where, because you actually, we talked about that missing alignment and lack of clarity with the C-suite, right?
Yeah, I think what I've been noticing, and curious what others, participating today, think. But what I've noticed is that it is sort of a check the box. It's like, if just because you have a chief customer officer doesn't mean that your C-suite or your organization understands and is aligned to what that experience is you're trying to deliver. And so it's and oftentimes what I'm seeing happen a lot is that mixing of the technology officer or the data officer or the innovation officer or marketing into customer experience. And sometimes customer experience is being minimized into just the measurement of the experience. I had some clients recently, where a couple of different clients where we're talking about the work that's being done from their customer success, their agent perspective, and what is being delivered, and the fact that they're seeing CSAT and NPS not increasing. Well, it's not enough to just increase a score. What you have to be doing is understanding what's going wrong, not just what's driving people into a call center, but why. What was the problem in the first place, and are they able to get that problem solved as quickly as possible? So that's when we talk about the alignment, Shawn, it's about, the role isn't about the measurement. The role is about the vision. And someone has, and it's not a one and done. It's not just a journey mapping exercise. It's not listening, just always listening and seeing what's happening with NPS or CSAT. The problem is the fact that you're continually thinking at a high level, rolling down into your organization, what it means to be walking in your customer's shoes on a day in, day out basis, and what's working and what's not. And not because it's working for you as a business, but what's working for your customers, if you really want to be customer centric, right?
So you're going to make me have to do this, Kristina, and I'm glad Michael's not on the show. Because I haven't brought him out in a while, but this is totally like a pom-pom moment. Like, the role isn't about the measurement.
It's not.
I don't know how often, and you heard me say it from the stage, I don't like it. And I correlate it to this, and you and I have talked about this too. You don't drive a car looking through your rearview mirror.
Right.
You drive a car looking through your windshield. And I'm sorry, if all you're doing is looking for the check the box or the measurement and looking at that number, you are driving through the rearview mirror. Because let's face it, many times we don't see CSAT scores and questions, sometimes up to 90 days after your customers had that interaction. Well, how in the world do you fix that? Right? So you've got to look in the drive, you got to look in the front window and the windshield and look at the road you're going at. Use those measurements, but don't. I think this is where I have come basically down to. We need to start leading with qualitative research and allow quantitative to just
support it.
Yeah. There was another word I was thinking there, but I guess define it and to, because let's face it, a lot of you guys, you work day to day in an organization. You have to quantify to a chief financial officer or someone in finance, right? And so many times those numbers help that, but start with the human first.
Right.
And I love, and I hate to go back to it, but Lee Cockrell from Disney, he always talks about give your frontline the tools and the framework and let them do their jobs.
Right. And that framework really is about what, when you think about why people get up every day and do their job, you asked me that at the beginning of this. For me, it's the impact of being able to help and being able to solve the problems. And oftentimes the folks we put in frontline customer success roles, they're very driven by that too. What they're lacking is they get coaching to a metric and a handle time and first call resolution. Well, that's not for me. That's not satisfaction as a customer to me. So it's getting to the experience portion of it that we just need more of. I don't know that it's that gap in the alignment that a lot of people think the data is important, but if you're not actually living the experience and really understanding the full experience and not just a point in time part of the experience, which is what we often measure and react to, it's what's happening all the way along the line. And as consultants, people or practitioners with it, that's the CX struggle, really. It's to be able to connect those dots and bring down those silos. Everybody is out there trying to do their very best, thinking this is the work I'm supposed to deliver. This is what quality is, or this is what the best experience is. And it's the definition of what that's expected and needed by the customer of this particular business that's still not quite clear to everybody.
Well, we have a listener, Amy, who said, love that you're talking about roles and alignment. So fundamental and so frequently overlooked.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about here. And so I guess my question to you then, and just this is opinion, what is it going to take to shift the norms of the C-suite? Because I think if we don't, as an industry, start marrying customer success and customer experience together, we're still never going to meet the needs of the customer.
We're not. You're going to continue to see the scores not go to the place. And really where you're going to see it, and what we're not connecting the dot around all the time, is attrition, churn, acquisition, number growth going up, or business being lost. Customers will vote with their feet, and that's the thing, or their pen, or their digital computer. They're going to walk away, and they'll find somebody else to deliver this if we're not able to. Because what they're buying, I talked about they're not buying product or service, and it's not really about the price. It's the experience. It's a solvent. But what they're buying is trust. They want to be part of a group. They want to trust that doing business with XYZ company, they'll be taken care of. The company cares about them as a customer, as an individual. And so going back to your question about aligning at the C-suite, I think more work needs to be done to pull those C-suite into what that experience is, not just reviewing the numbers, but getting them to talk in workshops, getting them to live it, having them have the experience of their customers. And we have some of our customers do that, where we have executives try and get some level of support from their business. And well, I've even heard executives say, well, I think I did something wrong. And it's like, well, that's not the point. The point is you're a human being, and we can't expect the customer to know the right things to say or do or ask for. We have to be able to understand that. One of my most, in my career, I've worked for several different companies, both as a practitioner, as a consultant. But one of the companies I worked for was a software company. And to get the alignment, we were doing scores and we had support, but I just kept feeding my CEO information about what it meant to align to the experience. And what we ended up doing was, he came to me and he said, as the CEO, I'm actually at the end of the road that owns the experience and the satisfaction of my customers. He said, I need to be the one, but I can't do that all on my own. So we created a council where every executive leader had had not just buy-in, but had to come every week. We created a vision of what the experience we were going to deliver. And then every month we met and talked about what those different teams, technology, sales, customer success, support. What were those teams doing to deliver and meet the expectations of the customer? So he took ownership at the top, and he walked in that experience multiple times to say, this isn't working, and held his team accountable to help empower the rest of the organization to get it done.
Well, and listen, you've heard me talk about Shawn Slavinsky, my very dear friend here in Cincinnati, who to me is one of the greatest leaders in the world. And he says very openly, as a CEO, if experience isn't part of your strategy or in your top 3 priorities of your strategy, then don't even focus on it. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't even claim it. But let's be real, Kristina. We know organizations, both of us, all right, that claim it, put it out there, but don't put their money where their mouth is, right?
No.
And it's sad to me. And I think it's even becoming, we're talking about customers now, and I want to flip this in the last couple minutes. What it's doing to, and I hate to use this term, I've always hated employees. I call them associates or somebody, what it's doing to them right now, because we, post-pandemic, are finding that people are wanting to be tied to purpose.
Right.
Purpose-driven stuff. And so even if I'm sitting in a call center, what's my why? What's my purpose? And let me live and breathe and work towards that, not some, I hate to say it this way, but damn metrics.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that really is it. It's they're our frontline people that are engaging and helping to manage to the experience and the satisfaction of our customers, get frustrated by that metric of handle time and the coaching that may happen in real time that, oh, you need to get your customer off the phone. I mean, the empowered experiences are the ones that say, what are we doing for the customer? And honestly, we still see a lot of people saying we're doing it for the customer, but we're actually doing it for the business and doing things to our customers. I mean, digital first is an example of that. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are like, oh, our customers want digital engagement. And there is a component of that that's true. But how much digital engagement? How much of that is needed by the customer versus how much of that is needed by the business to drive efficiencies or cost or something like that. And so they're hard conversations. Having a seat at the table at the executive level for customer experience and being sure that it really is about owning the experience, not the brand, not the marketing message, and not just the metrics. It's all of it. Why does customer success, why do these frontline organizations not roll up into the customer experience team? Why is a customer experience team somebody that just reports to leadership or reports out information on a regular basis?
Well, when we at Mophie, we work with organizations, many times the very first thing I ask to see is their org chart. And I have an organizational design and leadership background.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you how experience is rated in an organization by an org chart.
Right.
Because if your chief experience officer reports to someone other than your CEO, it's not a priority.
Right.
And what you said, and if all those people don't report up to that person, it's not a priority.
Right.
Well, Kristina, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been great. I'm glad we're starting to bridge this conversation. Best place for people to find you, obviously, is on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Go out and follow her. If you'll hang on for just a couple minutes, I'll close up the show and you and I can close up afterwards. So again, thank you for this great conversation.
Thanks, Shawn. I love it. Thanks so much. Thank you, everyone. I think we need to keep talking about this.
Absolutely. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much again, Kristina. That was awesome. Don't forget, you can reach us at www.mofi.co or at shawnnason.com. You can also send us an email at hello@mofi.co or hello@shawnnason.com. One exciting thing I did not share yet is that our fall season of the Combustion Chronicles is going to be with chief customer officers and chief experience officers from some really big named companies. So be looking for that coming out this fall. You can connect with myself or Michael, my co-host, who's on vacation, on LinkedIn as well. But most importantly is, if you play in the experience ecosystem, we want you. We want you on the show. We want to talk about the good, bad, and ugly of all things in the experience ecosystem. So thank you for today. Thank you for listening in. And we will see you next week. And so bye for now. Have a great weekend.